Hello, dear friends. It's Dr. Abby on Tell Me the Stories of Jesus. And I'm talking to young boys and girls, Christian, who want to live right by God. And remember, it's the month of October. This is our third episode, third Sunday in October. And we're talking about voices. If you've not joined us up till now, listen to today's story, but please go back and listen to the other 2 weeks. You will be blessed. We're talking about voices, the voices within us or even those from outside. We're talking about the ones that we want to make louder and the ones that we want to reduce the volume. Today, we're talking about the one that we want to mute. We want to switch off this voice. It's not a voice that we should hear in the Christian circle. We still hear it, but then this is a personal walk with God. You and I, we decide that even if others are still doing it by ourselves, we're switching this one off. And that's why I've not brought a microphone today. Even the little microphone, I've gotten rid of it. We don't want to hear this voice. And it is the voice of betrayal. The voice of betrayal. What does it mean to betray? To betray is to not to be loyal. To betray is to show another side, of you that is negative. So you've supported somebody and then somehow you go back and you backbite against that person. The voice of betrayal, we want to mute it. We want to switch it off. And our Bible reading for today, remember in Stories of Jesus, we always go back to the Bible to clarify what Dr. Abby has told us and also to come up with other lessons. It spans 3 chapters again. 2 Samuel chapter 15 and also 2 Samuel 16 towards the end, and then 2 Samuel chapter 17. And we're going to talk about a man called Ahithophel. Ahithophel was a very good friend of King David. He was a good advisor. So he tells King David what to do. Very, very knowledgeable man, Ahithophel. And he was a good friend of King David. But King David and his son Absalom was a handful. Absalom wanted to take over the kingdom from his father. He wasn't going to wait for the right time, when his father is very old and then his father dies and it can be handed over to him. He probably knew that, he was not the next in line to the throne. So he wanted to do it his own way. His father always loved him. David loved him despite all his faults. He still loved him. And when David heard that Absalom had plans to take over, David immediately, some people counseled him. He started to gather all his people, all his supporters, and he left the kingdom and he ran away into hiding. Now we're back to Ahithophel, David's advisor. Do you know what? He betrayed David. He didn't go with David. He switched sides and he became advisor to Absalom. It was a big blow when David heard. He knows David so well. So it means that when he has switched over to Absalom, he's able to tell Absalom all David's secrets, the strategy that can be used to take over the kingdom and things like that. And he was an older man, King David's friend, so way older than Absalom the son. But he deflected. He betrayed David. He moved to the other side. And David told God, David said, God, make Ahithophel's counsel, the advice that he gives to Absalom, make them like foolishness. And David prayed that prayer. Now, when Ahithophel was with Absalom and Absalom was ready, he wanted to go to war to take over the kingdom from his father, Ahithophel then told him what to do, gave him the strategy. I know your father. By this time he's hiding. By this time he's weak. Let us attack him in this way by this time, and we will win. We will take over the kingdom. Because remember, he knows David very well. So Ahithophel gave Absalom that advice. Do you know what Absalom did? He turned to his friends also. He turned to that man and said, okay, let me hear your own. And the other man said, don't listen to Ahithophel. Let's do it this way and this way. We do it this way. We fight, we go. And every other person around him said, yes, let's do this other second advice. And that was what Absalom went by. So that means the advice that Ahithophel, that betrayed David, gave, he didn't take that advice. Now, for somebody of Ahithophel's standing, a big advisor to the king, he felt so disgraced because his own advice was then turned to foolishness, like David prayed to God. Absalom did not take his advice. He was so ashamed. He felt so foolish. He went home and he did something that is not nice. He killed himself, and that was the end of Ahithophel. That brings us to the end of our story today. I can tell you that later Absalom got into trouble. He never got the kingdom. David came back and he reigned. I'll leave it at that. The voice of betrayal. As a child of God, that's that voice that we should never, ever allow it to rise up within us. Be loyal. When you decide that this is my friend, when you decide that not even friend, this is, just be loyal. You know, it doesn't have to, you don't have to do it to people you like. It doesn't have to come with benefits attached to it. It's just, I believe it's an attribute of God that God will be very happy with you and proud of you. Be loyal. Let people know that when Johnny says yes, it's yes. When Johnny says, I will go with you, that person is not going to look back and Johnny is nowhere to be found. When Johnny says, oh, what they did to you was not nice, let it not be Johnny that will then go behind that person's back and go to the other camp and be running people down. It's not nice. People see through you. I can imagine maybe Absalom felt, Ahithophel, yes, you're advising me. But at the end of the day, you betrayed my father. That means you don't really have good standing. How am I sure that the advice you're giving me right now is not one that, would make my father conquer me? So if people start to get to know you that you're not a man of your word, you're not loyal, you betray people, even people will avoid you. They might smile at you, but in their mind, they know, don't trust her. Do not trust him. He betrays people. You'll be surprised. Even if it's their enemy that you betrayed, they just know he betrays. So that voice, you need to make it muted, not even quiet. And we said that's the voice coming within us. Now, if it's from somebody else, you've noticed, you're not judging, but you've noticed this person is not a man of his word. This girl is not a girl of her word. She says one thing here, she says another thing here. She smiles at Lily here. Behind Lily, she's really running her down and saying nasty things about her. You mute that person's voice also. How do you mute it? That's not the person you want to associate with. You know, when we talked about unity, there's sometimes you speak to God and you move. You cannot continue relationship with some people because you want to be the nice boy, the nice girl. Some people, you quickly avoid them. You move away from them. So you mute it from within you. Make sure you're loyal. You see somebody who is not loyal, just be quiet, but mute, move. If it is somebody you can reach out to and say, no, this is not nice. The Bible does not like this, and things like that. You can do that. In that context, that will be your own voice of good news, preaching Christ to the person. But make sure that that thing does not come to you. Because like in the Bible, 2 Samuel chapter 17, that voice of betrayal turned to foolishness. It never ends well. You will get to that point where you will be all alone. Ahithophel was all alone. And then he harmed himself. And we never want that to happen to us. So I want you to go back, read that story, and make sure that you keep to that principle. No microphone for this one. We're not loud in it. We're killing that voice. We make sure that nobody hears of it again. And until next Sunday, when we talk about another exciting voice. It's Dr. Abby on Tell Me the Stories of Jesus. Bye.